the Atlanta Falcons versus the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta Falcons versus the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta came out on top in this game 27-25. And this game was a little bit odd from an injury perspective. These teams look a little different from a fantasy player perspective than what we started the season with. Calvin Ridley out for the Falcons and Jameis Winston out for the New Orleans Saints. We will start on the Atlanta side of this ball. And with Calvin Ridley out, he's left a little bit of a vacuum at receiver that I think we're still trying to figure out how that's going to be filled. So last week it was Tajay Sharp who received the majority of the targets. This week, Russell Gage got 8 targets, 7 receptions for 64 yards. He was the highest targeted player on this team. So my first question going forward, before we get to the highest scoring receiver on Atlanta this week, we'll talk about him. Russell Gage or Tajay Sharp rest of season. Jay, between those two players, which one do you trust more?
Flip a coin. Honestly, I think all the wide receivers, I think you're just guessing. If I had to pick somebody, I'd probably lean Russell Gage just because we've seen him do it for stretches. You know, he played pretty well last year. But with Calvin Ridley not in the lineup, the only guy I trust in the passing game is Kyle Pitts. Other than that, I think it's going to be just like we've seen. You know, it's you're going to see somebody come out of nowhere every week. You're not going to be able to predict which one. And it's basically just the flip of a coin.
Yeah, and you brought up Kyle Pitts. He had 3 receptions. He had 3 receptions for 62 yards, but he was more involved than that stat line looks like. He had 7 targets in this game as well. This looks a lot like the first couple weeks we saw from Kyle Pitts while he was getting used to this offense where he was being heavily targeted, but the fantasy points weren't just lining up. John-Luke, do you have concerns about Kyle Pitts' rest of season with Calvin Ridley out? Because he's going to be the primary focus for the opposing defense now that I think it's safe to say he's the alpha receiver on this team as the tight end.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think Calvin Ridley being out does limit Kyle Pitts because they can hyper-focus him. But with that being said, I'm not fading him. I mean, he's in the last 3 games, 21.9% target share, which is the most on this team. Get this. All right, so we got Kyle Pitts, number 1, right? Last 3 games. Number 2. Third term target share. Number 3, Russell Gage, 14.6%. Very interesting to me. I wasn't expecting that. And then Calvin Ridley, just from his one game that he played out of the last 3. And then Hayden Hurst and Tajay Sharp right after that. So Kyle Pitts is still the guy here. And I would rather, if you're going to make an argument for Hawkinson, right, all offseason, I think you got to make that same argument for Pitts.
That's a great parallel, JL. People were saying, who the hell else are they going to throw the ball to with Hawkinson there? Atlanta, who the hell else are they going to throw the ball to? It's Russell Gage, Tajay Sharp, and